going to just have to record a Skype conversation, okay?
It is recording.
Is it recording now?
Passively recording, yeah. I'll just edit this out. What's her name?
Carine, C-R... No. C-R-I... Are you calling? You're calling Carine?
Yeah.
Right, okay. Right, here we go. Right, I'm just... Right, I'm just... Can you see me? Right, you can see me. I can see you. Right, let's see if we can go live now. Hopefully... that'll do it. Right. I'll just put... I know. That's right. I'm experimenting. Right, we're going live. Let's... If this doesn't work, then I'll just do... Right. Is this going live? Do I get any recognition? Do I get any... Right. Hopefully this is going live. I'm just going to give it a couple of minutes, Carine, for people to sort of tune in. I just moved that. That's another one of my boys. Can you check on your phone that it's coming on? Right, I've just got to get someone. And then I've got my cup of tea here.
It won't.
Yes, you can. I'm gonna. But well, I know. I mean, I get to say. And the other thing with this topic is that it's so emotive. It just makes me want to smoke as well. So.
It's on Facebook, yeah?
Good. This is what we should be doing. This is what we're doing. I mean, we're all I know. Well, I can't believe that the Irish sort of acquiesce to it. So I'm just going to make sure that this is coming through on live. I'm not getting any. Yes, we're here. We're here, and we're getting views coming through. Right, brilliant. Okay, right. I'm ready to go, Carine. I think. Am I right? Is this the 1st of May today, or is that tomorrow? It's today. So. We're right. When the 1st of May. Right, it's John Wedger here. Going live. I've got my cup of tea. You always start with a cup of tea now, and it's right. People are saying they can't hear. Right, let's just this. Honestly, this is going crazy. It's driving me nuts. When the 1st of May, right, it's John Wedger here. Going live. Yeah. And Nathan. Right. How? No, look. Oh my word! My house is just. It's had a hard life. It's had a real hard life. Right. Let's see. Can people see if I'm? Can we have some recognition that I'm being heard?
No, I need the lady to talk.
Right, Carine, can you give us a little bit of speech?
Yes, I can only tell you that I can hear you. I
can
see
hear
you well.
Well, right. Okay, I've got someone ringing. I'm going to have to sort of turn them off. Can you? So I've got my little assistant Nathan there. He's just checking that that everyone can hear and then we can see each other. This is the first time I've done this using the computer. It's just because of what's happened. Ideally, I would have liked to have gone back out and met you in Belgium like we did a year ago or however long it was, over a year now, Carine.
About a year, I think, yes.
And am I being heard? Is Carine being heard? Right, we're all up and running. Now, I'm privileged to have back with me Carine Hutstebart. Carine, as you know, is a criminal profiler who specialised in paedocriminals, as you term them. Mm-hmm. Sex crimes against children. And I've asked Carine to come back because we're losing the thread at the moment. All we're doing at the moment is just concentrating on coronavirus. And just before...
I'm not.
No, the same here, exactly the same here. And all we're doing, we're corralling our army again because just prior to this kicking off, the corona thing, what we had an expose like we'd never ever had before in the world. We were getting Jeffrey Epstein was being exposed, CEOs of major companies being exposed, and then we were going into the remit of world leaders, aristocracy and royalty. And especially in the UK, we had Prince Andrew had cropped up as
Yeah.
being a paedophile. And then he went live on an interview with the BBC, just proclaiming that it was just a misunderstanding and an error of poor judgment. And of course, no one believed it. It was dire nonsense. You know, it just wasn't washing.
It's pedo talk.
Yeah, it is. Well, we even had someone driving round Parliament Square outside Buckingham Palace. You know, the palatial home of the Queen, with a huge American type school bus with a big picture of Prince Andrew proclaiming he was a paedophile and that this must be investigated. And then all of a sudden everything comes to a halt. You know, I mean, and what are we looking at in Belgium? Are we seeing pretty much the same?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It is insane. It is insane. But my worry is this the way to handle this? I mean, aside from what they are trying to do with these lockdowns, it can't bother us, John, to go on, because anyway, the people who are only watching mainstream media or media, they are not watching our programs or your program or my interviews. Maybe one day, but it takes a long time. And my big question is, because there is a lot of going on still in all these networks and exposing them, my big question is, knowing how pedocriminals function, and even child murders, this is not the right way to chase them, because their fuel is anger already. It is rage because of what has been done to them when they were children, that fuels their fantasies to get back at somebody, and if possible a weaker victim than attacking their own abusers, because they're still afraid when they see their abusers, not only sexual abusers, as I told in previous interviews. We have 5 different big ways of abusing children. It can be emotional, it can be physical, it can be psychological, locking children up in the dark for days without food. It can be a problem of alcohol from one or both parents. It's underestimated, the impact on children. And then you have the 5th one, who is sexual abuse. And in the sexual abuse, you often have the 4 other points.
Yeah, I was going to say they all merge sometimes, don't they?
Yeah, sometimes they, and most of the time they merge. Yeah. But these most of them, let's say, I dare say 95% of the child sex abusers have been through such childhoods. And what are we doing now? We are just enraging them more. And what is rage? Rage is transformed grief.
Yeah.
You see? So the more we chase them, the more they are confronted with their grief, their pain, their untreated pain and humiliation of their childhood.
Well, this is the one thing.
But then society is hunting them. Well, we're gonna have even more victims. So please, let's consider another way to handle this problem.
Yeah, well, also, I mean, like you were saying about humiliation. I mean, that is the thing, because there was a guy I spoke to the other day, and he said, you know, I'm a rapist, and I went, well, please explain. He went, because when I was in the children's homes, they took me to parties, and I was raped, but I was made to rape other children.
Yeah, but it's not an excuse. I mean, they use it a little bit as an excuse to get rid of their anger and their frustration. But it is a fact. And that's why when I have these people in treatment, as I do for 30 years, I separate the victim offender from the offender. Yeah. First, we start working on the offenses, the crimes they commit towards children. And then later on, we'll treat the victim in the offender. Because you can't do one without the other, can you?
No. But what they do is, what I've seen is that they put the guilt on the victim. So they'll get the victim involved in their conspiracy and then blame the victim
Sure.
and say, look what you've done, you're as bad, you're dirty, you're filthy. And of course, this is a child. The child had no choice. It was done to them.
Yeah,
And,
but
and what could they do?
we call it projection. It's
Projection, yeah.
projection. But what did the criminal when he abused the offender? Exactly the same. You came to my house. You
Yeah.
wanted it. You didn't say no. And that's why I have to repeat myself again. All these prevention campaigns that cost a tremendous amount of money for so many years have been made by child sex offenders.
Of course, and I did that with my own research. People were saying, how has this been allowed to happen in the UK? And I said, but you've got to look at the people that are preventing it from being exposed. And when you look in our parliament, you know, our prime ministers, we have a prime minister as opposed to a president, but our prime ministers have what they call PA, political advisors. So they will have an experienced individual guiding them on points of legality. And the last 5 prime ministers, their PAs have been paedophiles or
Of
investigated.
course, because they not only do they need juridical advice, but they also need that advice from somebody who knows something about children, don't they?
Yeah.
So that how are the chances? I mean, 9 on 10 who have those 2 qualifications, being juridical advisor and at the same time knowing a lot of children.
Well, Tony Blair, who's probably the most hated prime minister we've ever had, who took us into the Gulf War, you know, which was proved to be an illegal war. I mean, this guy had a political advisor who was caught with thousands and thousands of child porn images on his computer. This guy was made Minister for Internet Security. So
but don't you see the picture they want to create? Don't you see what they are trying to create? What Jesuits once said to me, and he was the head of a very important organization in Belgium. He said, give me a child under the age of 9 and it will always be mine. Yeah. What they want to do is break children as young as possible to become the best slaves. So my message to child abusers is, stop it. You're still the victim of your offender. Stop it. You can stop it. There are specialized treatments, and you are fortunate as English-speaking criminals that the English-speaking countries, United States and the United Kingdom, is 50 years ahead of the other countries in the world, even mine, even Europe. There is nothing over here. That's why I studied in England and in the United States, because there is nothing here and they have no intentions to do it. Nobody in universities that are studying, for a psychiatrist, a psychologist, name it, police, even juridical advisors have anything in the program in all the years they're at university concerning the treatment of children, but then real treatment, and the treatment of child sex offenders. Nobody. Why? Because most universities are Rockefellers, and that fits their program to make slaves of people. So please, my message to sex offenders and people who have fantasies now at this very moment about children in their lockdown, which I call the fuck down, please get out of the hands of your abusers. So stop abusing children, because you're projecting. If you want to get back at those who hurt you, get back at those who did it.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
Don't transport this or transfer this to the next generations. Your role as a sex offender is so important now in turning back all what they are doing and their programming. Maybe it's a strange message that I am saying here, because everybody's so enraged on them. And I understand, so am I. I'm not enraged on them. I'm enraged on what they do. we cannot judge the person, because most of them are good people. They are, and 90% of them can quite easily, takes time, be healed.
And also they have all the information of especially organised paedophile networks that the authorities need this information.
But no, you're again going to the authorities.
Yeah,
Put them
got you.
aside. Let's make our own authorities.
Yeah.
We have to take our lives back, our brains. I noted some of the points here, or symbols. You know, because I don't really have a connection with symbols, and that they were taking them away, and it was all right with me. No crosses in classrooms, no crosses in justice in courtrooms. No, but then you see that they take all our symbols and they pervert them, and they don't use anything but symbols. So I think then, oh, if that's so important to them, must be very important to us. So take our symbols back, take our lives back, take our brains back, take our decisions back, and the authority. Because the authority showed enough now that they are incapable or unwilling to handle this world problem and the future of everybody. That's my vision.
Well, this is, I'm doing a lot of campaigning online now, and I'm doing a lot during this lockdown, because it's very important. People have got time; they've got time to research it. I've got a thing called the RAINS list, which is a list that was compiled by a top psychologist at one of the top mental health hospitals, and it was to do with victims that were caught up in the SRA, the satanic ritual abuse. There are serving politicians, there are chief constables of police forces named on this list. And what has come out in the evidence is that they have been not only abusing children, but also murdering children and other people. And I said to people, right, here's the names. Let's start a campaign. Let's start getting these people removed from Parliament, removed from any jurisdiction that they have in police forces. You know, and there's a video called "Where is the Outrage?" and it actually highlights all these people that are in public eye, that are in the celebrity realms, are in our police, are in our politics. And it's true. Where is the outrage? There is no outrage.
But how do you think this comes, John? We must be at about 50% of the people alive who have been victim of some kind of abuse.
Yeah.
So they are broken.
Yeah.
And then the messages they send around in the world is, oh my God, if you have been victim of child sex abuse, it's for life. It is not true.
Yeah.
It's a part of you, but it is not you as a person. So, and when people settle themselves in this idea, oh my God, I'm a victim and this is for life. What do you want them to do? I mean, it's by mainstream, it's diffused by government. So, well, that's who you are. It's not true. Go to yourself. You know that you're much more than just a victim.
Well, the other thing, Carine, is they've got the money to imprison people. They've got the money to pay for crimes.
I don't hear you. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Right. 1 second. No. Can you just come off your device?
I hear you now. No,
it's just I've got a few people using the internet. Just come off a minute. But you know, all the crime that has got its inception in child abuse, they find the money to pay solicitors and barristers £400 to £500 an hour. They pay for the tens of thousands for a trial per day in the courts, but they haven't got the money to actually help the victims directly. And the money is all
because
indirectly.
They don't want to.
No.
They don't want to. Look at what's happening. You're talking about where's the outrage? Well, because it's broken by those people with the money who can pay whatever they want to, and their luxury. So we have to make a parallel system, and again, it's discussable. You will hunt them down, the more children will pay this with their lives, so they cannot testify anymore. So we have to make But I think there is no outway for these criminals. It is good that they are for a while chased like for what they are, criminals, and the worst criminals. Time you have to leave them a place to go for help me. I don't know how. I don't know how to. You chasing them will cost a lot of lives. A lot of lives.
Yeah.
So we have to do it another way. The governments won't do it. The authorities won't do it.
Well, they
but
won't.
we can.
They won't listen to us either. The government. You know.
I don't care what the government thinks. I am working for 30 years the way I work. I have zero relapse from offenders, while the relapse percentage is at 97% within an average of 4 days after leaving prison. But they like it.
I mean,
it's an economy for them.
Right. So if I say this to people, I say, you know, they expect us to accept their statistics. You've got a 97% relapse, and 97% of it doesn't work. And I said, you know, if someone wanted an extension built on their house, and I recommended a builder to them, and I said, look, this builder is recommended by the government, is highly paid, you know.
Sometimes you're gone.
Yeah, I know. We're losing reception. I think there's a lot of devices being used. Can you just turn that device off? And I said, you know, and afterwards, we recommend this government-appointed builder to build an extension. I said, but bear in mind, 97% of everything this guy's built has fallen down. Would they still employ them? Of course they wouldn't. But we're expected to accept the same bullshit that they're giving us, that this still works. And it doesn't work.
Why?
Clearly, it does not work.
It does not work. That's why I am now preparing to train people, good people, to take care of child sex offenders. I don't care about governments and authoritarian systems. I've always worked on my own with the best results. And these results are because I studied in the United Kingdom, the United States, and I gather information. And my best universities are the child killers.
Yeah.
They trained me how to think like them, and how they groom victims, how they find victims, stalk them, and all that. That was my university.
Yeah,
and you will never see this in universities, because not one professor has ever spoken to a victim, let alone a criminal. So what keeps us, the only thing, my website's almost done. I'm working too much. I have to translate all my books. They will be on my website soon, so that I can train people, thousands of them, by the internet, to take care of and really be harsh with sexual predators, but at the same time restoring them.
And what is the essence to your success?
Very honest. I'm very honest. I'm very harsh also. Because they lie all the time. So, and then I let them talk, and then I say, you know, you're lying.
Yeah, and
they know they can't beat me. I've seen too much, and I also work with victims. So that's something too very strange, that the authorities, you have to make a choice, or you work with child sex offenders or with victims. I never understood that.
And you've been heavily criticised for engaging with the offenders, haven't you?
No, almost never. No,
I thought the authorities didn't like you.
But they don't like me, of course. They even voted a law only for me at a certain point. I must be very important. I mean, come on. But I don't care. I don't care. What I care about is the safety of children.
Yes,
and
exactly.
in the road of this, the whole of society. Because what happens when children are raped and abused and tortured? Their trust in themselves, their whole being. So can you imagine? I can't hardly imagine how our world would be if all this was released. All these children can get back to themselves and what they want in life and all that.
Well,
I can't even
Kareem, we wouldn't need a police force. You know,
No.
if people didn't know, we wouldn't. It would be unbelievable. I saw that in the police. The few of us that chose to investigate child abuse crime, we were extremely overworked, massively overworked. We had hardly any overtime. Other units,
Criticize,
you'd get a car given to you to take home. There, we had one car between 10 of us. We had nothing. They will not invest in it at all. It's just absolutely unbelievable. The emphasis they put on child abuse crime is basically zero. You know, they had one unit that was put up to investigate transgender crime, right? They had all the resources. It equated for 0.0001% of all crimes reported. You know, hardly any crimes they dealt with.
But it fits their agenda.
Yeah.
In the meantime, please rape as many children and as young as you can, so they are our slaves. So to the victims, I would say, you ain't no victim anymore.
Yeah.
Those who are not in it anymore, you are not a victim anymore. So come on, take your life back and refuse being a slave of whomever it might be.
There was a lady that had a charity, an independent charity, helping children. She was helping 40,000 children annually, right? She was getting a lot of independent funding, but she applied for government funding. She refused to subscribe to the government's charity commission, which would have taken the government. She was in possession of this list of politicians, and she wanted the government to be held to task for how that there was abusers in Parliament and they weren't helping children. Do you know, within a day, she was taken down. They arrested, well, they didn't arrest her, they investigated her for all their efforts into doing her for financial irregularities. The media destroyed this woman. Her name is Camilla. She's a very, very brave woman. And she's like you, she just loves children.
The media.
Yeah, totally smashed this woman to pieces.
But that, as you said, there is no outrage. How do you want to battle these governments and these systems if there is no direction to go? I mean, they have the power, they have the police to arrest you and to destroy you.
They are not.
Let's make a parallel system. It's not that difficult, is it?
Well, when I trained as a police officer, I did my basic training. It was 5 months, very intensive training. And you'd have these big manuals, books like that on theft, on deception, on criminal damage. There was a whole week on diversity training and dangerous dogs. Right, whole week. There was a 5-minute lesson on child abuse. Honestly, the booklet was like that big. And that was it. And there was no link put together between people in prison, people committing crimes and child abuse. None at all. There was no training.
No, it doesn't fit their program. It doesn't fit their agenda. Don't you understand?
Yeah. Well, I do now.
You worked so much with so-called criminals, theft and all that, and it is crime.
Yeah. And
you are the best person to say, well, all of them, if you talk to them, have been sexually molested.
So many.
So take that away, and what the police has nothing to do.
No, they won't. And I mean, there was one study.
Maybe they can start protecting each other as soon as we have a parallel system, and the people stand up and say, "No, it's enough."
Yeah,
to destroy our future and our children.
Well, this is what happened. I set together a protest in which we invited you to talk on the 16th of May in the UK. About child abuse. And we were getting all the survivor groups together. We were getting ex-servicemen, veterans, military veterans were coming. The fire service was so integral. I said to them, please come along, because the 1 second, the door. The fire brigade, you know, they were changing laws in France. They were going with the yellow vests, and they were going against the police. You look at what they did in Belgium with the Marc de Trou, and it was looking at being a huge gathering of people. And then what happened? The police contacted me and said, you can't do this. Okay,
then not now, but maybe tomorrow, John.
Yeah, of course, that's what I said.
Maybe tomorrow.
We'll reschedule.
They can try, but we will all continue to raise up and raised up and more, and then they will suffocate.
Yeah.
And we'll get there. We can't expect, something of ages to solve in 1 week. We can't do it.
Yeah.
We cannot do it. But if we all start raising up and saying, don't touch our children.
Yeah.
And, there are simple things you can do. I know how they function. They are scared cowards, those abusers, because, in fact, as I told in previous interviews, they are children. Their emotional level is between 3 and 7 years old. I mean, okay, go get to a shop, or you can do it with your foundation. Print crocodiles on stickers.
Right.
Because the crocodile is the symbol of pedocriminals. Put them on their graves with how do you call it? Not tape, the other stick, to stick things.
Yeah, glue.
Glue. With glue that they can't remove. But don't do it with people who are innocent.
No.
When you are a victim and you know that you have been victim of this person and he is already dead and you can't get justice, go to the graveyard and stick it on it. Everybody who passes will see it. It's not because you're dead that the damage is gone. I mean, put it on their cars. They had these stickers for handicapped people. And when you were on their parking, they'd stick it on your front window from the car. You couldn't get it off.
Yeah, yes.
I had it once, so I know what it is. I mean, this kind of stickers, put it on the front of their
so
car.
we're saying
on their only when it are real offenders.
Right, so
expose them. So you don't need to go out and have manifestations of thousands because those governments don't care. We've seen it in Belgium. The police says 300,000 people in the street of Brussels. No, it were 500,000 and even more.
And more, I heard it was more, yeah.
Yeah, they even fraud in the figures. But it didn't help anything. It's 25 years ago, Now in June, it's 25 years ago, Julie and Melissa have been abducted. What did change in the meantime? It got worse with the internet in the meantime.
Of course it has, of course.
And if you say something they don't like, they just take you out of Facebook and the internet. But there are thousands and thousands of horrific sites with child porn and torture.
Yeah.
And nothing happens.
Absolutely nothing. I mean, years ago, the pornographic magazines were in a shop and they were on the top shelf. They were there, but you couldn't access them if you were physically. You couldn't because they were high. But now,
the child porn was from under the counter.
Under the counter, yeah, and there were strong, penalties if they were caught with it, and But now with the internet, of course, it's just everywhere. It's destroying our youth. Pornography.
Completely.
Absolutely ruining. And you're taking, especially with this lockdown, how many young teenage boys are just sat in there watching pornography and masturbating, just ruined. They're not educating themselves, they're not studying, they're just watching porn. And if they're not watching porn, they're playing these stupid games on their computers. And it's just taking their lives away. And no one's interested. We had a case, Carine, and I always mention this as a parallel to where is the outrage. A woman in the UK was caught on CCTV that was on her house on a private camera. She was walking along. She's an idiot, this woman, but she picked up this cat, and she picked it up, and she opened one of these big plastic bins, we call them wheelie bins, and she just dropped the cat in there. Okay, it wasn't a nice thing to do. It was a nasty thing to do. And she put it down. The media picked up on it. The outrage in the UK because she didn't hurt the cat as such. She distressed it and traumatized it. And maybe it could have got killed if it got sent into a big truck. Mm-hmm. But the outrage, this woman had to be moved house and put under police protection. They were more worried about a cat than they were about children being raped.
And it has always been like this, John. Do you know that the protection laws on animals is much older than the protection on children? And where did it start, the protection laws on children? In the United Kingdom. Because a little girl of 5 years, it's in one of my books, was chained like a dog outside in a little box. And the neighbors, everybody saw it, but nobody could intervene because the father was the god of the family. You could not intervene. And then somebody had the idea in the UK to go and make a complaint for animal abuse because she was like a dog. And that's the start of the laws in 1965 to protect children. So you see that this is going on for centuries. Break the human being, his creativity and his power, and it is all. We will always be slaves.
Well, there's a couple of things there, because we have royal societies for the protection of animals, royal society for the protection of birds. We have a national society for the protection of children. So the royals aren't bothered. And the other thing we've got to look at is how they have deliberately shattered our society and destroyed family values and broken the family and single parent in some parts of the country. They have. I know they have.
Yeah.
Now, I was a single parent due to terrible circumstances, and I always say it's wrong. Single parenting is hard, it's wrong, and it leaves you vulnerable, and it allows these animals to prey on your children. You know, we are seeing our social services. Yeah. There's a lot of social workers that are allowed to become foster carers. And what they are doing, some of these, they are cherry picking kids to make an additional revenue for themselves. So sometimes it's in their interest to have certain kids taken into care so that they can take these kids as foster parents, earn a massive income, double their income.
Yeah.
And then they get respite care. If you're a foster parent,
you should an average of £3,000.
Yeah, it's £2,000 a week. Some of these children, if they've got special needs.
€3,000 in Belgium.
Yeah, and it's just appalling. And they get respite care so that the foster parents can go on holiday without the child. No, if you take on a child like you take on an animal, you love it like your own. It becomes part of your family, yeah. And we've lost this ability to love other people's children because of being. It's just the paedophiles have taken over, especially in the UK. It's absolutely horrific what's going on.
But not only pedophiles, also those who somehow have in their mind that the best thing to destroy society is to take away the children from the families and destroy families. Yeah. So, what keeps us from restoring our families? Why do we have to have an order from above? Start thinking, okay, well, my relationship is going well. Instead of thinking divorce, think of, I'll restore my relationship. I'll restore it for me, my wife, my children. We have to change this mind frame they've put into us. But I think you, or even you, and I'm amazed, I understand your rage toward authorities. Absolutely, I share it with you for so many years. But in a way, you're still awaiting or expecting something from this side. You won't get it, John.
No, I know.
So instead of spending your energy on this, hoping, start organizing around, because explain, why do these get €3,000 or £2,000 for the children, and why per month? Yeah. Why is this money not spent to help heal the families?
Yeah, well, of course.
Tell me.
I know.
Because it's their agenda.
They don't want to help the families, and then they will then give the money to medicate the distraught parent and keep them permanently disabled and then on disability payments because they can't work because they're now dysfunctional or alcoholic or whatever. No, I'm with you. The whole system is wretched.
Absolutely, and it's sad to say, but it's all about money. You don't capitalize on children because you capitalize on the future. So all these people considering breaking up their families, okay, don't do it without the help of governments, for God's sake, but please do it for society.
Yeah.
Not only for yourself and the children, but for the whole of society. Take our lives back. Fuck, is it so difficult?
I had this conversation with a group of campaigners on a live podcast, and it was to do with people that had fallen foul of the family courts. And I say to them, look, if the social workers are coming, make sure your house is tidy. I know it's difficult, but don't give them an excuse. Make sure there's food in your fridge. Make sure your children have got clean bedding.
Good.
You do these simple things because they will look at any excuse to take them children. You know, don't have a man sleeping on your sofa and cigarette ends in your front room without a window open. Silly little things. Just do it because.
I'm gonna smoke now.
Yeah, same here. This is what happens. You know.
No, but then you have people who would criticize you because you don't speak the English language perfectly. I mean, I speak 5 languages, and I do my best to talk to as much people as I can and to reach them. But then they criticize some, not many. Some criticize you, but her English is not that bad. Well, did they hear the message? What's the more important?
Yeah.
You heard the messages.
Yeah.
And it's the same. Now, since a few weeks, I think, I'm a smoker, I'm going to smoke. Yeah. It's my right to smoke. There's nobody in my office here. And I smoke, okay? Yeah. I have no corona, and I refuse to put their masks on.
Same here. I'm out.
No, I'm not going to do it.
I'm out every day, and I go out there, and you know, the 2 of us, we go out there and we campaign. I go with my partner, we go out and we campaign, and we say to people, it's a nonsense. I no doubt people are getting ill. I no doubt that. But what's happened is, the moment this corona come, it just sort of like diluted everything else. It washed away everything.
There are no attacks anymore. There are no wars anymore. Nothing is happening in the world except this. Yeah. And then have you seen the video of Obombom? I call him Obama.
Yeah, and he actually said about this.
He's going to golf.
Yeah.
Golfing and all that. Then you see our ministers here in Belgium. They're sitting together, eating and discussing. No masks.
We've got our police going out there in a van, in a minibus, going out there to tell people to go home. There's 10 of them in a closed environment, not one mask, and they're standing next to each other. It's total and utter hypocrisy. And what we was discussing earlier,
it's Stalinism. It's communism and Stalinism.
We now need to bring this back to number one priority, where it should have been anyway. It's got to be brought back in, and that's why I'm doing as many podcasts as I can. I did one the other day for a lad that was in a children's home. He suffers appallingly as an adult. He still defecates himself every day because of the damage. I went to the children's home and I put an appeal out for witnesses to what went on. And do you know what? Within an hour, we got names of other children that went there. We got names of people that came to his assistance. We basically solved a crime within an hour. And
that's what I want to give as a message to all your listeners, that they have to consider when they attack you, because I hear this from other people also.
I always get attacked,
when they attack you, maybe they should consider that it is costing you a lot of energy, a lot of money even, a lot of time, a lot of frustration to prepare all this for nothing. What about the mainstream? They are well paid by Soros and by everything to do their agenda, to open their agenda and to enforce this agenda on us. But people like you, who bring the real truth, you are harassed, you're criticized and all that. Well, it's easy, isn't it? I can do it from on my pillow. I don't have to get up in the morning to criticize others. Go to work instead of criticizing people while you are doing nothing at all.
It's incredibly damaging and it's toxic. And it is toxic. You know, there was one guy, he saw the criticism and said, I couldn't trust you. He came to me and he said it was my mum who'd worked for many years in social services, and she just said, look at this man's eyes. He's telling the truth. He's not a liar. He's telling the truth. And I said, well, of course not. Why would I lie? But the one thing I won't do is spend my time arguing with trolls and that. I'm not doing it. I'm not wasting my time defending myself against these idiots. I'm not.
No,
it's not happening.
No, but it's worth saying that these are the most low cowards.
Oh, they are cowards. They're cowards is the word. Yeah, cowards.
And that's what I said in my last interview with Sean Atwood. SGT. Stop being cowards. Because those are the ones who are on your sideline, who are attacking you because you smoke, because you don't use the right English language or the right word, but the message they don't want to hear because they are too cowardly to do something about it.
Yeah.
So
No, it's true.
they are more dangerous than pedocriminals.
Yeah, I agree.
Because for pedocriminals, there is, I won't say a cure because they are not ill, it's a choice.
Yeah.
But you can help them not making that choice anymore.
But
And heal even the victims by paying for their treatment, their reparations and all that. All this is in my program. I don't need university students. Let's be very clear. I don't need you. You can, if you want, follow training, but the only thing I will base my choice on will be on the motivation. Why do you want training to treat child sex offenders? And that's all. That's the only criteria I have.
Well, when your training package is ready, you know, I will be
It's
honoured.
almost ready. I'm translating it now.
I'll be honoured to promote it as much as I can in the UK. And I know when I met you last year, I did say to some people, and they were really keen on sort of taking part in it as well. People that do a lot in the community.
But let's make our own army.
Yeah,
and let's take care of our own children, repair them. Okay, the only thing we cannot really do is punish them. But that will come. There are different kind of punishments, but for the victim, a child, it is important that these people go to prison.
Yeah.
Be it 1 month, 6 months, it doesn't matter. For a child in its mind is he must be the bad one and not me, because he's in prison.
Yeah.
Okay, we are not at that point, but we can punish them. Punish, yes, because it's a kind of revenge. We're not allowed to use that word anymore, as many words we may not use anymore. But I don't care. It's a kind of revenge, and without revenge, you can't restore harmony. You can't. And then I hear people say, "Well, we have to learn to forgive them." Okay, I agree, but on one condition: that the person who harmed me has become conscious of what he did or she did and asks me for forgiveness.
Yeah.
And then it's up to me to forgive.
Yeah.
And that's where I don't agree with some people saying, and you know who I mean, that we have to forgive them.
Yeah, I know.
Who are they to tell people, victims, that they have to forgive? They've been controlled their whole life.
Of course they are, yeah.
Leave them the choice to forgive. And the only thing, what I do is at the point, if we are far enough in the treatment of the pedosexual, a confrontation with the victim, if the victim agrees, that's the most important. And then we talk together. And I've seen situations here, John, you won't believe.
Yeah.
They are angry when they come in, and they can follow 2 hours therapy just sitting here at 1 meter. It's not even the quarantine, quarantine distance. They can listen and they see how I work with them. And many victims said to the offender, "I forgive you." Because they heard what has been discussed. And where I say, no, you're lying, Freddie. You're lying. That's not the way it went. Okay, start again. Your story. And the victim is next to it. And then they see, wow, this is serious. And then when they see how difficult it is for the offender, they start crying. They start thinking of their own abuse and all that. And then the victim, in full conscious, has the choice. And most of them, after have been present during therapy, because I have contract of non-confidentiality with offenders, which means that it can be shared with justice departments, police officers, victims, lawyers of victims, and all that. They sign this.
Yeah, that's your main stipulation, isn't it? That they must disclose, that all their records are disclosable.
Yeah, because it's the secrecy that makes where we are now.
Exactly that. They can't hide anymore. And I say that our silence is their weapon. No more silence.
But if you, in fact, I should ask one day about this guys then of some of my offenders, a confrontation with the victim. And if you see this for yourself, what it does when a victim is consciously saying to their offenders, "I forgive you," what this does to the offender, I cannot describe this to you.
Yeah.
They start weeping, they collapse, their whole defense mechanisms gone, and they feel freed.
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
And then it makes it much more difficult for them to reoffend.
Yeah.
Because in a way they have been freed of this burden.
I've just got to 1 second, Carine. I've just got to plug my charger in. Can we put a charger in here, please? Because the battery's running on the computer. So I want to, because there's a few more things I want to go through.
Yeah.
And one thing is what is happening over in America with sorry, just trying to find my charger. Down there. Sorry, is you know, that we're hearing about, like with Trump and that, is actually proactively going out there and rounding up paedophiles.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a lot of speculation. Is this true? Is this not true? We're not really seeing people brought to justice and things like that. So, I mean, what's your views on it? Is it really happening, or is it not happening?
I think it is, because at a certain point, now they speak about the Getty Museum, where thousands of children are in the basement. I had this information 2 years ago, when nobody talked about it. Somebody went to visit a man, and he's a Navy officer. And he went to visit the Getty Museum, and then he went into the basement. He felt there was something wrong, and many people feel there's something wrong when you're there. You don't know what it is, but don't underestimate the subconscious and the quantum, where there's so much we don't know. And then he went into the basement, and he saw 100,000 children sitting there, waiting for transport, for organ trafficking, for sexual abuse networks, adrenochrome.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you.
And he wrote to me, "What can we do? What can we do?" Well, to be very frank here, there's nowhere to go for us with information. I have tons of information.
Yeah.
It's all out in other countries, because I have search work. I had search work.
Well, you get attacked for holding this information. I got attacked for holding it. You know, for speaking.
Where do you go? Where do you have to go? To the police?
I know. Yeah.
Where do we have to go? So many people have information. I know. We don't know where to go. There is not one instance where you can go in full trust, knowing that they will investigate it. Not one.
Well,
in the whole world.
In England now, they've shut down all the police stations. So people have to report things online. Years ago, they could go in, and then they would get a child abuse investigator to sit down, because one of the biggest things was people getting the bravery to speak out. And when you used to get the day where you used to get a lot of people coming forward and speaking out was New Year's Day, because they've been drinking over Christmas, because of the depression and everything else. And New Year's Day, they're saying to themselves, this year, I'm going to make this my year. I'm going to make this my year. And they'd go in the police station, and it'd be shut. So then that would be another year without talking, another year of self-abuse.
3 weeks ago, I had to go to the emergency at hospital here, because there was something wrong with my hand, and I had fever, and I was almost collapsing. It was something wrong. You know, something, I don't know what. It was all swollen up. There was nobody.
Yeah.
The emergency room, there was nobody. And it's not from hearsay. I was there. There was nobody in the waiting rooms. The parking lot was empty.
Yeah.
And then you see all these people starting to film it for themselves. So people are taking their power back. Perfect.
Yeah.
The same. And one of my pedocriminals I have in treatment, he called me. He said, "Yeah, well, it seems I have the corona." I said, "Oh, why?" He said, "Well, I was feverish and I had a cough and I have a throat ache." And I called my doctor, and he said, he said, "Yeah, that's corona."
Yeah.
I said, "On the phone."
Yeah,
he said, and he's a nurse. Can you imagine? And he said, "On the phone, don't I have to come and be tested?" No, it's sure. Stay inside, and this is corona. Come on.
I know.
And then the whole world is locked up.
The whole world. Exactly. This is what I said to someone. If they can do this to the whole world, you're talking Christian countries, liaising with Muslim countries and Buddhist countries and communist countries, all that hate each other, all working together. Everyone is imprisoning themselves. It's become an offence to hug someone now. It's becoming an offence to visit your family now. to go out and get a walk, fresh air, to get a bit of peace and quiet outside. It's an offence. And they've done it in a couple of weeks, and everyone's gone boom.
Incredible. It's incredible.
Unbelievable.
So don't tell me that the globalization is a fact.
Oh, it's there, man. It's there, isn't it? They've got it. They've got it. But going back to, I always want to bolster up a story. Now, you said about the children underground on a grand scale. Let's look on a local scale. I had a woman come to me who was a social worker in Rio de Janeiro. And she said one of the biggest problems, they would get people would go and help these street children, take them in and feed them, and get these undernourished children. She said they were only doing it because they were then going to feed them up and they were selling them for organs.
Yeah.
It was in Rio de Janeiro. There's a woman come to me the other day. I'm getting a lot of victims of the satanic abuse coming to me. And one woman said she'd be taken to a farm building in rural England, and they were taken to an underground tunnel area. They were locked in cages for days, and they were raped. And she said that I'll be there with many other children, and some were killed, some died, and some were thrown down a water well. If they were little, if they were bigger, they were buried in the woods. She took the police there, and then the police refused to excavate. And she said there will be bodies there.
Yeah.
So
I have places too where I know bodies are dropped into
Yeah. So I'm
in a mass grave.
I'm getting this corroboration on a smaller scale, and each time you get the same things, the police, if they do listen, are then stopped from taking it further. And we're having this
you
all
can
the
have
time.
very good policemen.
Yeah.
But they have to report it on a higher level. And when it comes to the higher level, you're blocked.
Yeah.
I have one of my victims of networks. She's still in it. She can't get out because she will be killed. But she goes to work and she has her house. And then they pick her up for horrific things. She had 9 children in that network.
Oh.
Nobody knows about.
Yeah.
But I won't do it because it's too horrific. I can tell you stories what they did with these babies and with her. You won't believe. It's too much to swallow.
Carine, I've had 2 women come to me and say I've killed a baby, and one, she said I cut the baby's throat across here. She didn't want to do it because she knew it hurt the baby, but they made her, so she did it wrong. They made her do it again, and as a result, she was punished. And they punished her by gang raping her and putting a hot iron rod into her anus. And then the child was killed anyway. And she said, I've told the police. And I said, okay, let's talk about this situation. How old was you? She said, I was 5 years old.
Yeah.
5 years old. And this woman now helps people. She therapizes, and she's a lovely woman. She says it is a reality. And like we said before, people say, oh, I don't believe in this. I don't care if people don't believe in this. I don't care. It actually is unimportant
to believe it. So they don't have to do anything if they don't believe it, do they?
Exactly.
So it's again cowardice.
Yeah.
Remember Regina Louf in the Dutroux case, X1, she too had to kill children and babies, and she testified about this. You can find it on the internet. We're 25 years later. Nothing happened. But
she's
destroyed.
What I will say with Dutroux is powerful. I always make references to Dutroux because it was heavily publicised as much as it could be.
In the world.
In the world, it was. They took to the streets en masse. That is a matter of record, and it's on the media. It's huge, and all these witnesses that died in the lead up to it.
92
witnesses. And I say this, I said not 19, 92 witnesses died. How? And any case that linked outside of the true circle, right, towards the business magnates and the royal family, them witnesses went. They only dealt with the rape with Dutroux and his wife and this other guy.
He was an isolated criminal.
Yeah, he was an isolated criminal. Yeah.
And then they created for all these networks and these victims and witnesses who witnessed about this. They put it in the Dutroux bis case. We're gonna try Dutroux and his little acolytes around, and then we're gonna take care of the networks and all these thousands of people who called the green line. It never happened.
Carine, at least it got out there. You look at what happened in the UK with Jimmy Savile. He was another Mark Dutroux. And he was connected to a child murderer called Ian Brady.
Yeah.
He was connected to so many celebrities, so many. And now where is the outrage with Jimmy Savile? What the BBC that protected him? There's people are still paying their money to them and believing the nonsense they're putting out on the television at the moment. They're still allowing it. The royal family were connected to Jimmy Savile. And
well, the most dangerous virus is the media.
Yeah.
But we stop thinking of convincing these other people. Their day will come soon.
Yeah.
That they will be confronted with the victims of the tunnels.
Yes.
You cannot imagine what is going on in these tunnels. You cannot imagine. There are even things I know that I still don't know yet.
Yeah.
I've seen a picture of a little, I think a boy. It was a clandestine taken picture from the tunnels, and it had like a kind of a goose foot instead of a hand.
Right.
So what experience are they doing on these human beings?
But the Nazis did
Nazis.
this. They did
Mengele
do it.
Mengele
exactly.
has never left.
No, Mengele didn't. And I say this all the time. This happened in living memory. Joseph Mengele was doing it with twins. He had a thing for twins. It's public record. It went on. This isn't fantasy. This isn't fiction. This went on. And it's happening now.
Yeah, but there have only been 5 of those Nazis being convicted in Nuremberg.
Yeah.
Where are all the others?
Yeah.
They just spread underground, and that's underground like fungus, you see. And now we start seeing these mushrooms coming up from the fungi.
Yeah.
Good. Let's expose them. Let's continue, because they can't stand light.
Well, we exactly, and that's right. Darkness doesn't exist. It's the absence of light. And it is, and when someone said to me, when you put the light in the sewer, the rats will attack, but they will also run, and this is what we've got to do, take our light into the sewer now.
Yeah, but that's what's happening now. They don't know where to run. They're scared to death. But they are dangerous. Rats that are trapped, they can be very dangerous. They just eat of their own...
they'll attack each other. They'll attack each other.
Yeah, and they are already attacking each other to save their own skin.
I question this coronavirus. I no doubt people have died of something. I don't know. But the timing for this coronavirus for the pedo criminals is perfect.
Yeah, and that's why I don't want you to doubt the work you're doing, because some are saying, to what purpose?
Yeah.
Come on. You're the only people shedding light on this. And believe me, we are over 10% now, must be around 20% of the population is awakened now. And you only need 10%, the critical 10%.
Yeah.
And now the other 80%, poor them, poor you.
Yeah, I say that to people.
We don't need them. We don't need them. They are the disposables. But I mean, 20%, it's not nothing. And every day more and more. And I think Trump is doing the right thing, but that it is so traumatic. I remember him saying, and then I still thought, it's a clown, the way he expressed and all that. And I was wondering if he was going to save the world. Now, let's be honest. If it isn't he, nobody is.
Yeah.
Let's be honest about it. But he even said in his very first interviews, being a president, he said, I knew it was terrible, but I couldn't have imagined how bad it is.
Yeah.
And that is true. People know there is child abuse, but they cannot, in their farthest imagination, imagine how bad it is.
Yeah, how bad it really is. I mean, I say that because having been in the police, you'd work an area and you'd understand where these criminals were. You'd drive through this area, live in this area all your life. You'd never know. You never knew what was going on behind these closed doors.
That's why stick their crocodiles.
Yeah. Now, if we can go back to that, because I like this, maybe a symbol that's anti-crocodile, with a line through it or something like that. And I think that's a very good thing. And I'm going to ask a couple of people that have offered their services to me with graphic
Expose
design
them.
to get a crocodile symbol, you know, with a big cross through it or something like that. And let's get that out there, because that's brilliant. Yeah, that is, and
It's simple. It doesn't cost a lot.
yeah,
Some victims of mine who were very frustrated that their abuser died. I brought at the time, it's about 10 years ago, crocodile stickers from Spain.
right.
So there was no trace to me, because I have to be. They tried to kill me already. So I brought them from there and I gave them to them. And then I said, go to the graveyard, stick it on it.
Yeah.
With glue, it can't come off. And the relief these victims felt that finally they got back in a symbolic way. They got back and it brought them balance. It's not expensive, but you can imagine all these people going around in graveyards to visit their dead people, and then they see a crocodile. Why a crocodile?
Yeah.
You know?
No, I like that. That's simple.
It's not because
and
you're
powerful.
dead that you're forgotten.
Yeah. Well, they had this with Jimmy Savile. He got a state funeral. You know, they had the Royal Marines, the military.
McCain too.
Yeah, they put in this huge
In the United-
tombstone, and then, of course, he got exposed, and then with a day, it was smashed. And they had to exhume his body because people would have dug it up and they would have chucked it all over the place. You know, yeah, exactly, good. But it was incredible, all the people that stood up, they were giving testimonies. Where are they now? You know, where are these people now that said he was a good guy? Let's go back and interview him.
Like, if this graveyard of pieces are still there, put your crocodiles.
Yeah.
Huge amounts of them. And expose it. Have a podcast on this. Look at this. Look at this. Go with your camera on the graveyards in a few months and film, not people sticking them, but stickers on, oh my God, he was one.
But people that are proved to be, because otherwise you'll end up, some people get a bit overzealous and stick them on people they don't like. So, you know, we've got to have
No, it has to be clear that it is, and it doesn't have to be proved by not even, but because most of the victims never talked about their abuse.
Yeah.
And they are still there with this feeling of injustice. If they can just discreetly put it on their graveyard, it gives such a relief. You don't need the Justice Department. You as a victim know what another did to you. Yeah. But don't put it on graves because just you're angry at somebody. Don't do it, because you spoil this whole action then.
Yeah.
It is a symbol. Why crocodiles? It's in my first book, Child Hunters, because the children in Thailand, when the season for the pedos years ago came around.
Sorry, I just
yeah.
Sorry.
These children said the crocodiles are coming. Why? Because these were elderly men with wrinkled skins.
Sorry, just give that phone to yeah, go on. Yeah, no, it's okay. Carry on.
So this old man with money came to rape them in a touristic tour, and the children, most of them were elderly, and they had all that wrinkled skin.
Oh, okay.
And so the children named them "The Crocodiles Are Coming."
Right.
That's why I put in Child Hunters, children don't like crocodiles.
Yeah,
and I explain why.
Yeah,
and where this word is coming from. So this must be the symbol of.
No, I like it.
Pedocriminals.
Yeah, I like it. And can we just talk a little bit about the psychology of the paedophile? Because, like you've mentioned many times, that intellectually some of these can be the most deviant and deceptive people, but on an emotional level, they're totally broken.
They're broken, yes, because of abuse in their childhood, and that's stuck between 3 and 7 years of age. So you can't treat them like an adult if you're talking about emotional things. They don't understand.
No.
If you discuss with them on things, they reason you away. I mean, they are so much smarter than we are. I mean, because all this energy normal people have that is fluent between their rational thinking, their feelings, their emotions, and their sexuality. Normally, it's something that flows between those three points to be in balance. These children, because they are broken, and those Jesuits knew that how to do it by raping them or by abusing them in any way. The feeling part is broken or destroyed. For those who it is destroyed, there is no other option than take them away from our society.
Yeah.
Kill them or put them on an island of Epstein and with not crocodiles, but
they can do what they want to each other, then, can't they?
Yeah, but sterilize them because they're capable of making their own children to abuse them. They are so full of anger.
Yeah. But I'm studying at the moment, and we're putting together an academic piece, and it's to do with the UK, why it's so endemic within our public school. Now, our public school are our high rating fee paying schools. Everywhere else we call them private schools. In the UK, we call them public schools. It's a strange thing. And there was one book that was written about 5 top public schools in England, where one of them is called Eton, where they've had 11 prime ministers have come from this school, where buggery and beatings, canings on the bare buttocks is commonplace. It's the normal. And someone
breaking the child and make it your slave. So these 11 ministers you're talking about are the slaves of those with the agenda.
Yeah,
they're the puppets.
And the strange thing is, someone then said it's based on the gladiatorial schools. A lot of the old Greek gladiator schools and things like that is exactly what was going on there, where they were taking children away from their mothers, they were subjecting them to harsh punishment, harsh training, but also buggery was a way, and it was a way of really, really taking them down and controlling them. So
absolutely,
this and
not absolutely, but we consider our societies as being developed, but no, we have to develop it. Not the upper classes; they are enabled. They're all slaves of that century-old
incredibly
system.
Incredibly dysfunctional.
Yeah. And there are people that, so many I know, that say, but I don't have a university degree. And I say, my God, be happy. They didn't spoil your brain. You can still think for yourselves.
Yeah.
So, because our generation, John, has been raised, but you need a degree, you need a diploma, you need your because this was their agenda, because once you're in there, they are going to program you.
You said something once about indigenous cultures, on an anthropological sort of sense, where it was Papua New Guinea. Can we talk about that? Where if someone was identified as being a threat to young children, they were banished.
Absolutely, yeah. Genetically, people are programmed to never accept sexual abuse of children, and I mean sexual abuse. And so they did some anthropological research in tribes in Central America and New Guinea, where they're still making fire with 2 stones. And if somebody touches a child there in these tribes, immediately the elder. Here they want to dispose of the elderly above 60 years now, there the elderly people came together and punished the abuser by putting him outside of the tribe. It is very, very harsh to survive in the wild, the
jungle,
the bush, the jungle, without your tribe.
Yeah.
And then maybe it's for 6 months, it's for a year. They are put out of the tribe, and then they can come back, but they are not stigmatized. The message to the victim is quite clear. You are not to blame.
Yeah.
He is to blame. He is the adult. He knows that what he does is wrong, and the whole community will in a way punish or how do you say it again?
Well, punish it.
Judge. They judge.
Okay, right.
They judge that one person. When he's back, he's not stigmatized. There is a social control. All this, you told it yourself a few minutes ago, the social control is completely gone. Before somebody did something to a child, the whole community knew it, and you don't do it twice.
Yeah.
Because you are watched. Now we're trying to chase them away, and so you don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
We should keep them in our midst.
We had a case in the UK, and it was someone very, very high up in the Anglican Church, the Protestant Church in the UK, and he was taking on young boys and helping them through what they call seminary to educate them. And what he was doing was he was raping them, and one of them committed suicide. But this guy was a bishop. He was protected by the Archbishop, the head of the Anglican Church, and he was also then protected by Prince Charles. And what did they do? Prince Charles attacked the victims of this guy.
Of course. Yeah. Oh my God, this would be my worst nightmare, that I've been knighted somewhere by someone.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, because then you're one of them.
You're one of them, yeah.
You will only be knighted by a king or a queen or whatever if you serve them.
Yeah.
So that's the same with the Oscars, because that's their system.
Well, it's basically
the red carpets.
It's basically when they get these awards, they're identifying themselves as well. So they're doing you a favour.
To keep that in mind, also the awards in Hollywood and the red carpet, which means the carpet of blood, their red shoes, very often made of the skin of children.
Well, the Italians have a saying: you're caught between the hunter and the butcher. You know, so they're not going to come and help you either way. We've seen a lot of high-profile cases of people speaking out against child abuse in the UK, and they then ended up in prison. But not for small sentences. They're giving them, last one, this guy spoke up against celebrity paedophiles. They gave the victim an 18-year prison sentence. They're giving them such harsh sentences. So the message going out to victims is, you speak out, you'll get locked away. And no one's coming to help you.
I have a message then for people who want to do something but don't know what. Start writing nice postcards to that victim.
Yeah.
In masses.
Yeah.
In masses. Yeah. Support them.
Well, this is what I've done.
Maybe you could put £1 in it and send it. If thousands of people start doing this, oh my God.
Carine, that's a brilliant idea, and that's one of the things I've started doing the podcast with the victims and saying to other people, look, there's one guy, he's so ill, he can't work. I said, come on, let's help him pay his rent this month. Let's help him do this. And
we can do this.
Yeah, and this is something we've had of twice, two people that we've really promoted them, and they, one guy's now doing a lot of podcasting, getting huge followings. They're making a film about him.
Good.
And the guy yesterday that I've been doing work for, he's getting a lot of support, and there's a lot of healing comes in that as well. A hell of a lot of healing. So you're right.
Yeah, my mother was a very wise woman, my father too, but one of her sayings was, words awaken, but examples, wait a minute, I have to translate it from Dutch. Examples manifest, something like that.
Right, okay.
Words awaken people, but then if you're an example, they will start following you.
Yeah.
No, it's a proverb in Flemish. Woorden wekken, voorbeelden strekken.
Yeah. Well,
the Dutch part.
Yeah. Well, example. You've got to lead by example, and results always speak for themselves. But words are cheap as well. Talk is cheap, but actions. We need action.
It's only when you start to act on it.
Yeah.
That makes people follow. So you start by the words, and then you do what you say. And that's exactly the opposite of our politicians. There's a lot of words and nothing happens.
I mean, I'm just going through because I'm trying.
I've had it with them.
I'm trying to run off two different things. I've got my phone coming. The messages come through on the phone, and someone's mentioned about Pizzagate. I mean, again, this was something that came forward. They tried to attack it, but the more the thing is, the problem they've got is the more that they attack it, the more we look into it, the more we're proved right that this did go on. You know,
Yeah.
this is a bizarre thing with it. The more you look into it, the more you realise we were right and they're wrong. You know.
Well, is that a surprise to you, John?
No,
You know that
I
this is
know.
right. You worked in all this. You
Yeah.
talked to victims. You've seen the results of what
Of
happens
course.
to children being abused and raped by perverts, and these perverts who have been themselves. So I don't have to explain it to you.
Of course
Above
not.
all people, not you.
Yeah,
I
no,
mean,
of course not.
if people would work or talk one little moment with the victim,
Yeah,
just listening.
yeah.
But they don't want to hear it. It's too, well, they won't judge anymore.
No, yeah, I
It's
know.
easy, as I said, judging. I can do it from on my pillow.
Yeah.
Attacking people, criticize people, judging them. I don't need to get out of bed.
There's a fantastic activist called Billy Maloney, and like me, he got very badly attacked by all these negative trolls. But the guy is a victim of horrific abuse. He's done so much in the UK to highlight. But he lived on the streets of London. He's a tough guy. He's an ex-boxer, lovely man, heart of a lion. But he swears. He shouts and he swears. And someone said, oh, he shouts.
Yeah,
and
okay.
another victim
Oh,
said, just
well.
listen to what he says, but just turn the volume down then. But listen to what he's saying. And I thought, how lovely to sum it up. And no wonder he's angry. You have to live this life. You'd be angry. You know, and this is what I've been doing. And I say to people, if you can't articulate, come to me. Give me your story. I'll put your story out there.
But let him articulate the way he wants also.
Yep.
Okay, you can bring his story, but let people see what this does to a human being,
Yeah.
the anger. And that's one that has not become a child predator.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
praise him.
Brilliant. Exactly.
He's expressing his anger, but he's not by proxy
100% with
using
you.
victims with it. So praise him. Hail this man.
Yeah. No, I'm there. I'm there all day long.
Maybe he's addressing his anger towards himself instead of towards little girls, little boys. So praise this man. Please do this mind change, people.
Yeah. I agree.
You're convicting and you're judging the wrong people.
Yeah.
It's not because they have a suit and money and a big car that they are the right persons. Look into this and make your own mind up.
I was with they was going to do a BBC radio documentary on me, and I met with the executive producer, and it's to do with child prostitution in London. And she said, where are they all? And she's imagining it's like some sort of Hollywood film where these children are paraded on some little side street.
They're everywhere. Look.
Well, this is what I did, Carine. I said, come with me. We sat and had a coffee in the outside area of London, a busy area. She put a little recording device and we were talking. And I had my rolled up cigarette, of which I'll have another one in a minute. And then all of a sudden this man came over, right? And he's begging for money. And he said, what are you doing? I said, look, I've got no change, but take some tobacco, roll a cigarette for you, roll one for me. And I'm doing an interview. I'm an ex-policeman. We're talking about child prostitution. And he went, I'm one. And because he's a heroin addict, I said, well, what's your story? He told his story. I was in a children's home. They trafficked me out. But he said, not just me, calls over my brother. Boom. And then within 10 minutes, 6 people, boys and girls. And I said to this one from the BBC, these are your child prostitutes. These are them. Yeah. Would you expect it to be like a Hollywood film, like Taken with little kids? These are still children. I said, and look at this in 10 minutes. And she was.
Yeah, they're still in cages.
They are, exactly.
In a mental cage.
And this is it.
And there's no help.
And you know what? How powerful was this documentary? It never went out. Never went out,
Yeah.
So this is what we're doing now. We're getting this out. This is my first time using this system. I hope it looks like it's done really well. I'll get a response from this and then I'll forward this through to you. I mean, there's a guy. There's a guy here called Joseph Blair, and I want to say hello to Joe. Joey and his brother Bobby. They've got their own ways of coping. These are victims, twin brothers. Their abuse was horrific. And Joey, if I may, use your case. I can't say too much because they still got legal restrictions on it. these were two young lads, identical twins, were put into a religious institution, a Catholic institution, and they were used like some sort of I don't know, gift for the paedophiles because they were identical twins, you know, and they would then, when abusing them, the priest would be reading the Bible to them.
Yeah,
And you
I have
get
the
so
same.
much.
I have the same person in my immediate environment.
Yeah. So if anyone wants
How pervert!
how
can you
perverted.
be to use the word of God
No, exactly.
while committing the most pervert things on a child.
Yeah, I know.
Knowing that Christ said, if you do something to children,
Put a millstone around your neck.
a millstone around your
in the
neck
lake.
and in water. Yeah.
You know.
What are they doing? Defying God?
Yeah. And it's
Well, then you serve Satan. I'm sorry.
Exactly. That is it, and it stops them ever going to Jesus for help.
Yeah.
You know, and how perverted. And now I said to them, these weren't men of God; these were men of Satan. And it's something you said to me that these perverts, whether they do it in a satanic environment or whatever environment, they do it for one reason: they like it.
They like it.
Yeah.
It's their choice.
Yeah.
You can choose to do the right thing too. Okay, they are damaged, but that doesn't mean you can't do the right thing.
Yeah.
It's a choice. All of them tell me after a while. Of course, they will not admit. And so they try to make it an illness, the system. Yes, but these people are ill. No, they are not ill. Because you give the perfect excuse to these rapists by saying, yeah, well, I'm ill. I'm waiting for a vaccination, maybe from Bill Gates, to heal me.
Yeah.
No, it's a choice. Nobody who relapses after having restored themselves. Tell me, why don't they relapse? Some of them call me after 10 years and saying, when I haven't seen them for years, I'm not all right, Mrs. Utsebaut, I'm not all right. I said, what happened? Well, I was working my garden, and all of a sudden with the heat, I don't know what happened, these fantasies came back. And then I say, okay, come on, drop everything, come back to my office. We're going to take your circle of abuse again. And then they're on their way for another 10 years.
Yeah.
So they contact me. I have a very good relationship with offenders, a very good one. I'm not a judge. I will make sure you will not do this again to anyone, not children, not adults, and I will help you heal from your trauma.
And the other thing is, and I've come across this as well, when people's personalities change like that. So
just like that.
One minute they can be the most, nice, decent, articulate individual, and then you'll see a beast will come.
You know why, John? Because they feel your love for them.
Yeah.
They've never experienced this before. So it is not difficult to restore victims and to restore pedocriminals, most of them.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, you're in a stage of, these horrific things going on in the Epstein case, Pizzagate and all that, where you enjoy torturing, killing, and drinking the blood of innocent victims. Because, you know why we can't help them anymore? It's not because it's too horrific, but because they enjoy this so much that we have nothing to put in place of this excitement. You can say, okay, I'm a smoker. Maybe you should just bite on, how do you call it?
Vape.
Yeah, or chewing gum or whatever.
Yeah.
Take this, or okay, well, I'm not allowed to drink anymore. Well, drink water, drink fruit juice. You have alternatives you can use to change one bad thing for something else. But with these people who torture and kill and enjoy it, there is nothing as exciting and to relieve their pain, because they are tremendously hurt people.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to let them go. I had one in prison one day, and he had nothing to do with child sex abuse, and it was strange. He absolutely wanted to talk to me, but he was a car trafficker. But the most expensive, like Maserati, Testarossa, and all this. Yeah, and well, he was in prison because God, and he was very, very good, and there was a countess in England who was specialized in falsifying the documents, the board documents, and then was another noble person in France who was specialized in changing the chassis number. You know, the number of the car.
The car, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then I tried to convince him just start living a normal life. I mean, come on, all this. But he said, but listen, I can earn in 1 hour what other people earn in a year. What do we have to give this man in return? I mean, as an alternative.
Yeah.
Well, it's a bit the same. Those who are in a stage of enjoying, killing, torturing, drinking blood of children, there is nothing else to do than separate them, get them out of our society. That's
what one
and paralyze them.
Yeah, I know exactly. Yeah, but one campaigner said to me that his way of getting people to understand the horrors of what goes on, he was saying, especially in the satanic abuse, was to appeal to the animal activists, animal torture. Because he said they torture animals. He said that was the only way he got people to pay attention. He said they sacrifice animals as well as children. And all of a sudden he got a big following. It was like, people were like, oh, we want to listen to this. But when it comes to children, they just don't want to listen to it.
No, and this comes because of the ancient habit that the fathers were the gods in the family and you did not intervene.
Yeah. But we're heading...
So a father could do with his wife and his children whatever he wanted. Nobody was allowed to intervene until this law in 1965 on child protection. But then they took over the horror and they spread it all over the world.
You know, but we are seeing a lot more exposure coming out. One way or the other, as long as it's exposed, it's a good thing, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
You know, everything's got to be a gift.
Inform, but also the interview we're having here, inform people what are these people, not who are these people. What are these people doing this? How come they do it? What can we do to expose them? Each person in the world, as I said, just stick crocodiles. It's not that difficult, is it?
Yeah.
Start that with that. Listen to people when they go bad. Listen to them. As you gave the example in the bar with this producer. It doesn't matter that it hasn't been on television. It doesn't matter.
No.
She knows she will never change her mind anymore. Never.
No, that's right. Yeah, and of course won't get in touch with me anymore, and you know.
No, she's not allowed because she's gonna lose her job.
I've been with the head of BBC for Public Affairs, and I spoke to them about a politician we had in the UK. It was a Home Secretary called Leon Britton, and he said, "Yeah, we knew what he was doing," but none of it ever came out. But they knew. The newspapers.
They're complicit.
Yeah.
There are many cowardice complicits in our world, and they make that this can go on.
It only comes out when these people die, and then it comes out. But you know, how many suicides has this one person caused? You know, how much alcoholism have they caused? You know,
damaged children.
You know, drug addiction, damaged relationships. You know, some of the victims do go on to abuse as well. It's a fact. It's a 10%.
10% of the male victims themselves become child abuser. And as I said 20, 30 years ago, we have this upside down pyramid. One offender, especially focused on male victims, makes between 120 and 150 victims during his sexual active life.
Unbelievable.
Okay, well, if you take 10% of 150, it's 15 other who make themselves the same.
Yeah.
And so, you know, this now we are at the top of the top, no, in fact, the highest level, but it's upside down. And now it's a pandemic.
Yeah, and we look at the prevalence in the Western world of secret societies. You know, they form the basis of a lot of business and things like that.
I'm allergic to everything that is secret.
Yeah, I agree.
Except Mother Day. If you bought a present for Mother Day and you ask your children to keep the secret, the good secrets are okay, but the bad secrets.
Yeah,
no.
I'm the same. I can't be doing. The police was wrapped in secrecy. You know, they did a lot of covert stuff.
Justice departments are, politicians are, doctors are.
We had a group in England called PI, Paedophile Information Exchange, and they were an activist group that aligned themselves with a civil liberties campaign group, which were part of the Labour government. These three politicians, women politicians, that were running this civil liberties campaign group, three of them are still politicians now. That they're classed as right honourables and members of the cabinet. They were allowing this pro-paedophile group to operate. They even allowed them to give a speech at their annual meeting, and they were advocating the age of consent with boys to be 10 years old. And some of the members were actively talking, saying that 4-year-old girls should be allowed to express themselves sexually with men, right?
Yeah, well, that's Islamic. I'm sorry. In the Islam, it's allowed to marry a 4-year-old girl.
I mean, it's just perverse. But what they found in the independent government inquiry, that this pro-paedophile group, which was being allowed to operate by fractions of the Labour government, was actually being funded by the police's special branch, the covert branch of the London Metropolitan Police, were actually funding them. So again, you report it to the police, and like you're saying, all you're doing is feeding the animal. Feeding the machine.
Yeah, but even this police department, as you said, they are not the ones who are sponsoring. They get their money from somebody like
they're told to do it. Yeah.
Soros. They get their money from them because that's the main agenda is sexualized children.
Yeah.
So you can break them, make them the perfect slaves, and that's the main red line in all these secret societies, but also in the political society that just makes slaves. We will not allow that. We will not allow everybody to be slaves for their system.
And also, we have to look at organised criminality. Organised criminals, mafias have been involved in this, and they have.
Yeah, because it's organized throughout the governments.
Yeah,
Otherwise, you try to traffic something with other countries. How long do you think you will stay?
Well, listen. If you wanted to send me some money, you couldn't get it to me. How could you get it to me unless you smuggled it? You couldn't post it because it'd be intercepted in the post. If you sent it electronically, it would be picked up, and then you'd be taxed on it.
So obviously, you must be part of those governments, because otherwise it's. And then we haven't talked about the embassies and what happens there. Nobody talks about the embassies.
Yeah, and diplomatic bags. But this is one of the things that happened with this politician in Britain. The customs, the border controls years ago did intercept videos. They said it was photographs, it was videos of him with a young child naked young child on his lap, and this politician was wearing bra and knickers. I actually knew the woman that made the bra and knickers for this guy. Clear perversion, and nothing was ever done. They allowed this man to become the highest ever politician, bar the Prime Minister, that was quickly promoted. So he was the youngest ever quickly promoted politician to Home Secretary ever.
That's not just like that, that.
I know, and because Home Secretary is one down from the Prime Minister, but he's in charge of policing. So at the very top, you have this gate, and again, the policing unit I was on, no one else could investigate child prostitution other than the unit I was on. One of the lead, the senior officers in that unit has been mentioned on this Reigns satanic list. So and this is what I'm saying to people: the names are out there, they can't dispute it. Let's start campaigning to find out why this has been allowed to happen. Spread the word, spread everything.
That's the first thing, because you can't do them anything for the moment. They feel so upper mighty because there are so many. That's why they start now with sexualizing children from the age of 3.
Yeah.
And the sex is never underbuilt with love anymore. No. It's just self-gratification and dispose of your partner, the children, whatever. So it's never in the context of love, respect, and it's always in a context of perversion.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
now they are doing this as young as possible. That's why they wanted to give me 500,000 euros.
Yeah, right. So you was bribed to sort of go
They
along with
wanted
them.
they wanted to bribe me. They didn't say why. Now I know why. Because then I would be their voice to promote this sexualization.
And
Because remember, for 30 years ago, almost nobody was activated on this. But then they saw that I had interviews all over the world, even CNN at the time. And then they think, oh, people believe her. She's very believable. She's very trustworthy. It has a price.
of course it does. Yeah, yeah. And, this is
And that's
what
why they offered me in 2003, it's almost 20 years ago, 500,000 euros to help me.
yeah.
Well, they
That's
don't
right.
give
Yeah.
you money like that.
Well,
Would have helped, but
you take their money, then they control you, and then that's where the
absolutely, you
silence
have no other
begins.
choice. Yeah,
You know.
then you become their voice.
Yeah.
And then they would tell me that I have to say in television. They wanted to give me my own television room, so on official television.
Your own channel, as it were.
My own channel, yeah.
Yeah.
But then I'm sure they at a certain point they would tell me that I had to say that child abuse was decreasing,
Yeah.
that it went better, that while it was increasing tremendously. They surely would have given me what they give now to journalists in the mainstream.
Well, we had one senior police officer who claims to be like the oracle, the all-knowing knowledge on child abuse and satanic ritual abuse. He's always being called out on the British TV to speak, and this man is just seen as the one that go to, and he's like the voice of truth. But he proclaims that he accidentally walked in on a satanic ritual. And the victims will tell you that doesn't happen. That's impossible.
No, it's impossible.
It's absolutely impossible.
You should ask him. Have you ever talked to a victim?
Well, this.
I'm sure no.
Well, what he's done with victims, he's actually again I can't name this guy, but he's gone and said he can help them, and he said I need your official paperwork, your original paperwork. He takes it and he's gone. He's not seen again. I turned up at a press release and he was there. He saw me walk in with another campaigner and he ran. He ran out the door.
What? Because they're cowards.
Yeah, he was straight out the door, bang. And I said to him, "You're a whistleblower. Please link in. Let's all the whistleblowers, all the police whistleblowers. We don't have a problem with each other. We all work with each other. There's been a few arguments, but on the whole, we've all suffered. This guy will not go near us. Will not go near us. But he's the one always on the television. They never had
because
me
he's a fraud. He's a fraud.
Yeah, they try and block me at every point. They try and block me giving evidence at government inquiries. The media all the time. But then again, I don't like you. I don't need it. I've got my own channel now. I've got my own way of putting
You don't need them.
They
You
do
don't
the
need
best.
them.
But what we'll have to do to wrap up, Carine, we've got to have like word of hope. This is what people want to hear.
Absolutely.
Word of hope. I mean, I say to everyone, it's getting out there now. We're working together. There's me, ex-police officer. I'm working with criminals now, which would have never happened before.
But these are your universities. They will tell you what is happening.
They tell me everything. Victims and survivors, we're all working together. Never before have you seen so many groups coming together. We're getting the ex-military guys coming forward. There's a lot of ex-military guys have formed prayer groups. They've got together and they say, right, ex-soldiers, he said, we'll go and do investigations for you and we'll hold prayer groups as well because prayer is important.
It is. It's even proven.
It's been proven.
Read the book of McTaggart.
Okay.
McTaggart, The Field.
The Field.
It's in it. The CIA has investigated this, the role of praying in group. Yeah. It's tremendous.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And do you know the other thing with prayer? Sometimes it's all you got and it's free. It doesn't cost anything. And you don't need to be trained in it either.
No, and say no to everything that is not human. Say no.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where you work, in healthcare, in elderly care, by the police. Say no, I will not do it. This is not human. Yeah. End of story.
Yeah.
And if we all do it, they have nobody to work for them anymore.
Yeah, so and that's the thing, we are working together. I'd like, if I can put this offer up, Carine, that we do this periodically. We meet
Yeah,
up.
no
I'm
problem.
going to ask people, please, can you send me questions to put to Carine? And let's have a big open discussion. The messages are absolutely pouring in. Honestly, they are flowing in. I haven't had. This is my first time doing this. My son's
Good.
had to educate me. You know, and we don't need this lockdown. You know,
Yeah.
we've got our own way of working now. So why we have got this ability to talk like this before we are shut down, let's carry it on going. You know, and let's move forward. Carine, it's been an absolute pleasure, and it always is. Me and you, we speak for hours. You know, last time we spoke through the night, we could speak and speak and speak. You know, but you know, we've both got things to do. And
Yeah, but it's not only words, John. We
no, of
do
course we
things.
do. Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
We do so
It's
much.
always a pleasure talking to you too. You know, it's really.
You know,
We're on the same level. I mean, level in the way of vibes.
yeah. Of course.
And we will not. We will not. Well, just a message to all those. We will not back off.
No, I'm with you. You know, we're
Okay.
bulldogs. We'll keep going. But look, God bless. Can I ask you to turn off, Carine, because I don't know how to do it this end. So,
I'll do
look,
it.
God bless.
Okay.
All
Have
right,
a nice
auf
day,
Wiedersehen.
and I
Adios.
bless everybody who is listening to your podcast.
Yeah, okay. Lovely. God bless. Goodbye,
Thank you.
Carine.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
That's it. Is it? That's it. And that's it. Can we save this? If you to save it, what did it say? Is that saved? Was that saved? Can we save that?